Hi everyone, it's Norm Gregoire here, Community Liaison for Species at Risk in southeastern Manitoba's tallgrass prairie natural area. Today I'll be talking to you guys about a little charismatic songbird called the Golden-winged Warbler. This species at risk is a real welcome addition into our springtime here in the southeast, but it does face some challenges throughout its lifetime, which we'll be learning about today. So what does the golden-winged warbler look like? Well, in Manitoba, we have many different species of warbler, as you can see. Most of them are yellow in color, with some white, some gray, all small birds. The golden-winged warbler, as you can see a little bit better, in this picture here, has a golden wing, or at least a patch. Also has gold on the crown, the top of its head, and the other big color characteristic of it is the black throat patch or bib and the black band on its eye. This coloration is usually darker in the males compared with the females. Also, a gray body, a little bit lighter breast. Compared to other warblers, golden-winged warbler's tail is a little bit longer and a nice pointy beak. Golden-winged warblers spend their winters in Central America and occasionally as far south as Colombia. As they make their way here to the southeast through their spring migration, they're looking for a particular nesting and breeding habitat, which is generally early successional mixed woods. So successional or succession process is a fancy word that means early in the stages of regeneration. A good example of succession actually comes from our first settlers here in the tallgrass prairie area. So these settlers would clear pieces of land, only what they needed, and they would let their livestock graze in them. And then from that point, they would let the land rest. They would move their livestock elsewhere. They knew that it was important to give the land time to rejuvenate itself. Good for the soil, good for everything involved. Generally just good stewardship practices. It was at that point, that successional point, when there was no cattle or anything like that in the land, that the golden-winged warblers would really use it. So the farmers knew that this practice benefited everyone involved, the ecosystem, everything. That way of thinking is one of the reasons why folks will sometimes say that the early settlers, early farmers, are really the first conservationists. When the golden-winged warbler finds its preferred nesting habitat, it usually builds its nest close to the ground or on the ground itself. And they'll be building their nests out of things like grasses, leaves, whatever they can really find. They'll lay 4 to 7 eggs. Eggs are white in color, a little bit of brown on them. And these eggs only take about a week and a half to hatch. And once these chicks are fully developed, reach adulthood, they'll move away from this successional habitat and move more towards more mature, unfragmented forests. Golden-winged warbler's Canadian population has dropped over 80% in the last few decades, leaving only about 35,000 breeding pairs. So there's a few different reasons why the number's dropping. Things like habitat loss, insect loss, even collision with man-made structures like house windows, cars, anything like that. But believe it or not, the number one threat to golden-winged warblers is actually another warbler. The closely named blue-winged warbler has slowly but surely been making its way farther north into the habitat of the golden-winged warbler. This is a big problem for two different reasons. Number one, they are both directly competing for the same resources, insect prey, habitat, things like that. But the big reason is because these two birds are known to mate together, to breed together. So these birds, golden wing and the blue wing, they create hybridized offspring called the Lawrence's and the Brewster warbler. Those two hybridized warblers were actually thought to be completely different species until relatively recently. Now, what's really important for our Manitoban-based golden-winged warbler population is that it is actually the most pure gene of the golden wing anywhere in the world. Only in recent years have we had any blue-winged warbler gene DNA show up in our local population. So it's something to be proud of and to protect, but we have to be wary because historically, within 50 years, a blue-winged warbler DNA showing up in the golden-winged warbler population, the golden wing tend to disappear. In Manitoba, we do have management practices to ensure that our local populations of golden-winged warblers continue to exist on the landscapes. So monitoring habitat, like that early successional forest, is important. General stewardship practices are important. But what's really key is keeping our eyes on the blue-winged warbler. If we can somehow keep these two species separate, then that will be key in saving our colorful little species at risk, the golden-winged warbler. Thanks for watching.